What's up guys, it's Susie Bullock from HeyGrillHey.com, and if you're watching this video, that means we already have something in common. We both love good barbecue, and that's perfect because at Hey Grill Hey, my whole goal is to help you make better barbecue so you can feed the people you love and become a backyard barbecue hero. Today, we're making a stuffed pork tenderloin on the grill. This recipe is kind of one of those fun recipes you save for a date night dinner at home. Todd and I make it when the kids are gone, we want a nice relaxing evening, and we want to eat food that is a little bit more elevated. And the flavors in here are absolutely dynamite. We're talking about bacon, cream cheese, spinach, balsamic red onions, and manchego cheese. This recipe comes in at under an hour start to finish. You need 20 minutes of prep and 30 minutes to cook. For this recipe, you'll need a pork tenderloin with any of the silver skin, excess fat removed, 2 slices of bacon chopped, 4 ounces of softened cream cheese, 3 ounces of manchego cheese grated, and a half a cup of baby spinach. For the caramelized onions, you'll need a whole large red onion sliced, 2 tablespoons of butter, and 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. And you'll also need some seasoning. We're using my chicken seasoning. You can grab this in my store. Let's get started. In a skillet, you're gonna cook down that bacon. Preheat your cast iron skillet over medium-high heat, and then add in your chopped bacon pieces. We want our little pieces of bacon to cook down all the way and get nice and crispy. This recipe was actually inspired by a salad dish, and all I could think about was how much better it would be if it had bacon in it and maybe it was not a salad, but instead it was stuffed inside of some meat. So I turned a very healthy salad into a very delicious stuffed pork tenderloin. Our bacon is crispy. We're gonna pull it out of the pan, just set it on a paper towel to drain. Leave that beautiful bacon fat in your cast iron skillet. We're gonna use it to caramelize our onions. So you want these crispy little bacon nuggets so that when you put them in the filling, they hold up their integrity and you get a nice textural bite in your pork tenderloin. We're gonna add the butter to our bacon fat and then dump in our red onions. We're gonna add in our onions and start to caramelize those. You can smell the butter and the bacon as it caramelizes these onions. These onions take about 15 to 20 minutes to cook down. We really want them to be super soft, super sweet, so that when you're eating the filling, you don't get a harsh bite of red onion because that can taste a little bit bitter. You get all of the sweetness. Our onions are perfect. They've really softened and they don't have a lot of that bright purple color anymore. Now they're really light brown and they look beautiful. We're gonna turn off the heat and stir in our balsamic vinegar. These are looking beautiful. They're gonna be tangy and they're gonna be sweet. We're just gonna remove these from the heat and set them aside while we prepare our tenderloin. Before we butterfly our pork tenderloin, we just wanna make sure it's well trimmed. This silver skin right here is not great to eat and it's really tough, so just get your knife underneath and remove the whole thing. Just be delicate because you don't want to remove too much of the meat. You just want to get rid of these thin membranes. That looks perfect. Butterflying a tenderloin can sound a little bit complicated, but it's not. It's just like unrolling a scroll. You just want to take your knife, press your hand down on the top of your tenderloin, and about a ½ inch off the bottom, just make a long, thin slice. And then open that slice a little bit and do it again. And just make another long, thin slice. You just want to drag your knife parallel to the cutting board so that it stays about a ½ inch above it. You definitely want to make sure that your knife is sharp for this step, especially right on the tip, because that's what you're using mostly. So just keep making small slices and peeling back the top of your tenderloin until this last piece is is also about a ½ inch thick. You just press it flat. You have a nice space for your filling. When you're finished, it's gonna be about 6 inches wide and a ½ inch thick. It's time to stuff our tenderloin. Time for the filling. We're gonna start with our 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. Just use the back of a spoon and press it out evenly across your tenderloin. So maybe cream cheese and pork isn't the most traditional combo, but cream cheese makes a beautiful filling in any stuffed or rolled meats because it just melts down so nicely and it keeps things really moist. The cream cheese is on there evenly. It's time to sprinkle on our manchego. Just sprinkle your manchego cheese on there evenly, and then I like to use my hands to press it down so we have a nice even layer of this delicious melty cheese. Beautiful. Okay, next is our onions. Just spread these evenly over the whole thing. They smell so, so good. You want to make sure everything is evenly distributed across the top of your pork tenderloin because you want the spirals to be even when you slice through it. Next up are those baby spinach leaves. Just try to put those on in close to a single layer. You just want the spinach on top of these onions in a nice even layer. And now my favorite part, bacon. It's crispy little bacon pieces right on top of our spinach. It's time to roll this up. One trick that I use to make this a little bit easier is pre-cut your butcher's twine and then slide it under your tenderloin before you even start rolling. That way, you don't have to worry about holding the rolled tenderloin and getting the string on there. You'll just have them all set. You'll need about 5 pieces of butcher's twine. Kind of like flossing your teeth. Here comes the moment of truth. We gotta roll this thing up. So just start on one side, kind of tuck the filling with your fingertips as you roll and lift up and roll over instead of pressing down and rolling forward. Okay, we've got a finished roll. Now all you have to do is take your pieces of butcher's twine and tie them not too tight, not too loose. I love making this recipe for date night when Todd and I have a night alone without the kids. It takes a couple extra steps, but it's really not complicated to make, and it tastes amazing. It gives you that nice little elevated, fancy feel. And then just use your knife to cut off the excess string. Our pork tenderloin is stuffed, rolled, wrapped, and tied. It's ready to head out and hit the grill. All right, last step before we grill our pork tenderloin is the seasoning. I'm using my chicken seasoning. It has the perfect balance of garlic and onion and fresh herbs to complement all we got going on inside of here. That looks good. It's time to get it on our grill grates. My grill has been preheated to 375 degrees. I'm putting my pork tenderloin on the indirect heat side of the grill instead of directly over the coals. That way the heat circulates around it more evenly instead of a high temperature direct heat right in one spot. We're gonna flip this a couple of times during the cooking process. It takes about 30 minutes from start to finish, so plan every 10 minutes to give it a flip. Looks good. You're starting to see some browning on the underside of our pork tenderloin. We're 10 minutes in, we're gonna give it another 20. We're looking for 145. That's the perfect internal doneness for pork. Oh, this is exactly where it needs to be. Time to come off the grill. Be very careful when you move this because that filling is hot. You don't want anything to spill out. We're gonna take this inside, let it rest for about 10 minutes so that filling doesn't spill out when we slice it open. All right, all that's left to do is snip these pieces of butcher's twine, slice this into rings, and eat it. All right, now we're gonna slice this into about 3/4 of an inch thick slices. Oh yeah, that looks perfect. You can see all of the filling right inside. I love that you can see each layer of our filling. The cream cheese, the bacon, the caramelized onions, and that spinach. You might cut into your pork and see a little bit of pink. It's totally fine. We know we cooked it to the correct internal temperature and we cooked it over charcoal, and that can actually add a little bit of pink to the meat.
This one?
Yeah. Pork cheers.
Down the hatch. Holy cow.
That's so good.
It's like new flavors.
All right, you guys. Todd and I are going to enjoy our date night dinner for two. We hope you take a chance and make this recipe at home. If you do, leave a comment. Let us know how it turned out for you. Even better, post a photo on social media. Use the hashtag #HeyGrillHey. That way Todd and I can see it. Leave a comment on your post and cheer you on your way to becoming a backyard barbecue hero. See you next time. Pork drop. There we go.
Hey.
That was terrible. I'm sorry.